The gala hall glittered under enormous crystal chandeliers, each one scattering light like a cascade of stars. The soft murmur of conversation mixed with the clinking of glasses, and the air smelled of expensive perfume and freshly polished marble. Among the crowd of sharply dressed guests, the hum of wealth and influence was almost tangible. But in a corner near the grand staircase stood a man who didn't belong. His suit, though neat, had a subtle, threadbare look. His shoes, polished but not designer, carried the faint scuff marks of years spent running after life rather than chasing appearances. This was Simon Hartwell, a single dad who had spent the last decade balancing two jobs, raising his 9-year-old daughter Mia and barely keeping a roof over their heads. Tonight, he had been invited to the gala not by coincidence, but by a local charity that recognized his tireless volunteer work at the community center. Still, in the midst of billionaires and socialites, he felt like a speck of dust floating in a grand painting. The moment he stepped onto the polished floor, a few guests whispered behind their hands. One elegantly dressed woman, her pearl necklace gleaming, tilted her head and murmured loud enough for Simon to hear, "Is that—" The janitor, her laugh, sharp and knowing, was met with a ripple of snickers from a nearby group of men in tailored tuxedos. Another guest, a tall man with an arrogant smile, leaned in to his companion and whispered, "Looks like someone couldn't afford a proper suit." Simon's stomach twisted, but he straightened his back, reminding himself that he was here for his daughter, for the charity, and not to impress the elite. Yet, the sting of humiliation was undeniable. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and standing up despite the odds, please hit like, comment, share, and subscribe to our channel Touch of Kindness. Simon moved through the crowd cautiously, avoiding direct eye contact, clutching Mia's hand as she twirled, her small fingers around his. She was 9, but wise beyond her years, and she sensed his discomfort. Her large brown eyes scanned the room, and she whispered, "Dad, don't worry. You're the bravest person I know." That tiny voice, filled with faith and love, gave Simon a brief warmth, but the whispers and mocking glances from the crowd kept him in a shadow of anxiety. The gala was a fundraising auction for children's education, hosted by the enigmatic billionaire philanthropist Roland Vera. Roland, known for his sharp business acumen and immense wealth, had a reputation for transforming lives, yet few ever saw the man behind the title. He stepped onto the stage with a quiet elegance, and the room hushed. The first few items were auctioned at astronomical prices: art pieces, luxury vacations, designer jewelry, but Simon barely listened. His mind was on the thin layer of tension coating every look in the hall, on the way Mia's hand squeezed his, on the feeling that in this room they were invisible. When the auctioneer called out the next item, a week-long educational retreat for children at a state-of-the-art learning facility, Simon's heart leapt. Mia had dreamed of such a place where she could learn and explore without worrying about bills, chores, or her dad missing work. Yet, the opening bid started high, far above anything Simon could imagine affording. He hesitated, staring at Mia's hopeful face, his mind racing. The mocking whispers from earlier echoed in his ears, daring him to make a fool of himself. He felt sweat prickling his brow, but then, with a deep breath, he raised his hand. $50, he said quietly, almost ashamed to be heard. The room froze. Laughter erupted almost immediately. $50? One of the men sneered. Are you joking? Do you even know what you're bidding for? A ripple of giggles spread through the room. Simon's cheeks burned, but he held his ground, his eyes fixed on Mia, who clapped her small hands excitedly, oblivious to the derision around her. "Go, Dad!" she whispered, her voice trembling with excitement. That tiny encouragement, filled with pure, unfiltered love, gave Simon courage he didn't know he had. Before the mocking could escalate further, a calm, commanding voice cut through the room. $100,000, Roland Vera said, stepping forward with a poised, almost serene smile. The laughter died instantly. Heads turned, jaws dropped. Simon looked up, utterly stunned. The billionaire himself had just doubled, no, obliterated, the highest bid in the room. The crowd, once mocking, now fell into a stunned silence. Roland's piercing blue eyes scanned the room before resting on Simon. "This young lady deserves every opportunity in the world," he said, gesturing to Mia, who now stared wide-eyed, her small hands clutched over her mouth in shock. Simon's mind raced. I can't accept that, he stammered, the weight of disbelief heavy in his chest. Roland shook his head gently. You have already given her more than most could hope to give. It's time the world helps you give back in return. The room remained silent. The energy shifted from mockery to admiration, the laughter replaced by awe. As the auction continued, Simon and Mia were invited to the stage. Roland personally handed Mia a folder with the retreat details and shook Simon's hand firmly, his eyes conveying a silent respect. You've done more for your community and your daughter than most will ever do, he said. Never let anyone make you feel less than the incredible father you are. The applause that followed was thunderous, genuine, and it wrapped Simon in a warmth he had long forgotten existed in such spaces. The night continued with elegance and laughter, but Simon's world had shifted. Guests who had whispered and laughed at his expense now approached him, some offering congratulations, others awkward smiles. A few asked for advice on raising children alone, and Simon, ever humble, shared his journey, the sacrifices, the sleepless nights, the tiny victories, and the moments of despair. He spoke openly, vulnerably, and people listened. He realized that humility and sincerity carried more weight than wealth or appearances. Outside, the gala had a terrace overlooking the city skyline. Lights twinkled below, reflecting in Mia's wide, delighted eyes. Simon held her close, feeling a deep, unshakable sense of gratitude. He watched the city lights flicker and whispered, Mia, we're going to make it. Life will throw its worst at us, but tonight proves the world can surprise us with kindness too. Mia rested her head against his shoulder, and for a brief moment, the harsh world faded into the soft glow of love and hope. Weeks later, the retreat changed everything. Mia thrived in the stimulating environment, making friends, learning, and discovering passions she had only dreamed about. Simon, too, found doors opening unexpectedly. A community organization offered him a part-time leadership role, recognizing his dedication and experience, while other philanthropists who had witnessed the gala reached out to support his initiatives. What started as a humiliating moment had transformed into a turning point, a testament to resilience, courage, and the profound ripple effect of kindness. Through it all, Simon never forgot the looks of scorn he had endured that night. But he also carried the memory of Roland's calm, decisive intervention and Mia's unwavering faith in him. He understood now that life's hardest moments often precede the most extraordinary shifts, and that courage wasn't about never being afraid. It was about choosing to act despite fear for those who depend on you. And the gala? It became a story that circulated quietly among the philanthropic circles, but Simon didn't care about the notoriety. What mattered was the lesson etched into his heart, and Mia's, that dignity, love, and hope could not be bought, and yet sometimes they could be catalyzed by the kindness of a stranger willing to see your worth. Before we wrap up, I want to ask all of you, if this story moved your heart, if it reminded you that a single act of kindness can change a life, please engage with this video. Like it, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more stories that celebrate resilience, love, and the power of humanity. Special request, let this story honor all single parents working tirelessly to provide a better future for their children. You are heroes, and your sacrifices are never invisible. As Simon walked home that evening hand in hand with Mia, the city lights glittered like a promise. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring, but for the first time in years, he felt certain of one truth. No matter how low the world tries to push you, a single moment of courage, love, or unexpected kindness could lift you higher than you ever imagined. And in the quiet, Mia whispered, "We did it, Dad." And Simon knew that yes, they really had.